Hey y'all, from Spindle Mountain Mercantile, I am Heather. Welcome to my YouTube channel. You know, I don't put my face out here much because, well, honestly, because this is what you get. Oh, hi. But sometimes you get this too. Hey, Ham. This Hamlet. Show me how you pray. That's a good boy. Are you praying for my friends? Yeah. He is a little ham, isn't he? Good boy. Where was I? I did fix up a little bit today. I put on a hairband. I was working on some furniture and I needed eye protection. I started getting discouraged when I was doing my editing for today's video. I thought, maybe I don't even want to make a video this week. That's how discouraged I was. And it kind of hit me because the reason I'm discouraged right now is because of the exact same reason I started making YouTube videos in the first place, to help other people not be discouraged. It was an aha moment. I kept doing things wrong. It wasn't like my normal making mistakes. I was just doing things wrong. I thought maybe I shouldn't show people that, or maybe I shouldn't teach somebody to do things the wrong way. Maybe I should just tell them to follow the manufacturer instruction, which, by the way, my dad told me when I was a little girl. I called them destructions, but in my defense, they were called directions and instructions. That's destructions. So maybe that's my aversion to doing things the way you're supposed to do them. I don't know. My whole thought process when I was making a channel was that even if you make mistakes and you don't know what you're doing, or you don't have enough money, or whatever the reason is that's keeping you from making things that you feel like for whatever reason you're going to fail, you need to go ahead and make the thing because you want something beautiful. If you keep making mistakes or doing it wrong, what's the worst that can happen? Seriously, ask yourself that. Have you ever seen a craft item that was done so horribly it had to be thrown away? Even if something gets smashed, people make stuff out of smashed china. If it gets burned halfway when you're using a soldering iron on it or whatever, you can fix it. You can repaint them. You can distress them more to match the distress part you didn't mean to do. You can straighten out what you bent. You can bend what's too straight. You can do a lot of stuff to make something you like. And it's okay if you make mistakes. It's okay if you do it wrong, Heather. Because if you keep doing it and you keep working on it, you're going to have something gorgeous. And that's exactly what I thought when I got to the part where I remembered why I was making videos. I started putting those pictures on that I took after I made everything. I want to keep all of the things. One was a gift from my mom. So embarrassed it was a Christmas gift. And I just got it done on Mother's Day. But she was very happy to have it. But of the other things, I wanted to keep them, and I might. And it didn't matter how I got there. What mattered was that I made them. Keep trying when you get discouraged. What you are done with is going to make you feel good, no matter how you got there. If it doesn't make you feel good, then do more. Change it more. Fix it. Type in on YouTube or on regular search engine on the internet, whatever the problem is, and ask other people what they did, because you will find a way to fix it. And I promise you will find what makes your heart happy if you keep working at it. So let's get on with today's things I did video. And I'll talk to y'all later. Project number 1. I made this box for my pantry so I could store bags of rice, seasoning packets, etc. in it, but it was just a little too bulky, so we decided to get rid of it. And of course, in my family, getting rid of something doesn't mean we're getting rid of it. It means we're going to redo it and sell it in our booth. I started by painting it with Apothecary because Apothecary, it's the best. I only did one coat on the front and one coat on the inside back panel. I left everything else very raw, but I did seal it up at the end of the project. This project has 3 layers. After the paint, I'm going to add some stamps. And I'm not a good stamper, y'all, but IOD makes it kind of easy. I'm using Le Courier and the IOD stamp pad that I have filled with stone gray. I decided not to do a black because, well, I'm not a stamper. I don't need anything I'm doing with stamps to be dark and call more attention to itself. The proper way to stamp is to lay your stamp down on something smooth and then add the ink. Or you can use the stamps individually. I don't know if you can tell, but this big plastic sheet is full of lots of little stamps that are added all together to make it look like a newspaper with lots of little articles. You can take those off individually and add the ink to those. I didn't want to do that because we've already covered why. And I'm not lazy. That's not why. I could have done that, but I was trying to be in a hurry. My point is, you can do this. If I can do it this way, you can do it the right way with a little bit of thought. And if you don't have time for the right way, you could probably make it look pretty good too. Some people blot their stamps in between when they put the ink on it and they stamp. I think that's a great idea. I'm putting quite a bit of ink on there. That's something some people don't like to do, but I really didn't care because I'm covering it up with the next step. So if it had a little bit of excess ink, it didn't matter. I have really enjoyed using the great big flowers from this book called Collage de Fleurs. They are spectacular and so fun to work with. The ones I didn't really like, though, were these little ones. They just didn't really float my boat. Not really my style. But I decided today I would try them, and you know what? I love them. I can't believe how good they look. Adding transfers gives so much life to different objects, and they are so easy to apply. I'm just going to show you how I did one, and the rest I'll move through kind of quickly. When you get your transfer exactly where you want it, just give it a little rub with your hand to give it a first little adherence. Then use that transfer stick that came in your book to rub the entire surface. Next, gently pull up the carrier sheet at one corner and use your other hand to gently rub the transfer stick at the crease where the carrier sheet is pulling away from your object. If it doesn't stick, just lay it back down and try it again. Usually that happens because you didn't let the paint dry or maybe your surface isn't clean. When you're done, use that same carrier sheet the transfer came on to gently rub the surface of the entire transfer. Now, I didn't do this here because remember how I'm not a very good stamper? Well, my ink is really thick and really wet, so I decided to wait with the burnishing. I'll come back and do that later after the ink is dry. So here I'm just going to show you the process. Kind of quickly we'll go through it and you can see how I layered my flowers. My regular viewers know how much I love distressing, so of course these flowers were just too perfect for me. I went over them just one swipe with some 100 grit sandpaper. I'm slowing it down so you can see what it looks like up close. I did that over the entire front surface. As soon as that step was complete, I got out my ink pad and I just gingerly went over some of the edges. Actually, I went over all of the edges. Some of them I added a little bit more ink. Some I added just a little tiny swipe. I did add some to the inside as well. To seal my container, I coated everything with Debbie's white wax and then I rubbed it off with a dry, soft towel. Not only did I think this one turned out beautiful, so did my sweet husband. We put it on top of the cabinet on our front porch and added our cowboy boot vases to it with some herbs, and y'all, I think we're keeping it. How am I ever gonna make money at this rate? Project number 2. Surprise! I'm using a new color. I'm using Farm Fresh by Debbie's DIY. I'm adding one coat, letting it dry thoroughly, and then I'll add a second coat. While my mom was visiting my brother in Hawaii, he took her fabric shopping. She bought some exquisite fabrics and made a beautiful quilt by hand as she watched the sunrise and sunset from my brother's place on the mountain. When she got home, she entered the quilt in a contest and won a ribbon with it. And naturally, she wanted someplace nice to show it off. So for Christmas, my sweet husband and I gave her this shelf that he attached a rod to for quilt hanging. She loved it, but she wanted us to paint it and decorate it a little bit. So bring us forward to Mother's Day, and we finally finished it. It's all my fault. I take all responsibility, and I am so grateful my mother still loves me despite my tardiness. I guess she had a good practice because I was born 2 weeks late. Bless her heart. Because only one side of this is visible where my mom's hanging it in her room, I only put one transfer from the book Rose Botanical on the side of the quilt rack. And you better look quick because I didn't take any film of me putting it on the quilt rack. I did, however, get some pretty good footage of my stamping prowess when I was using the upper right hand corner stamp shown here from the collection named Vintage Textures. Again, I'm pretty sure I did not use the manufacturer's suggested usage. That's okay though, because what I'm trying to relay to my audience is you can make something even if you don't know how to do it the right way. So I guess you can learn the right way, but until you get there, try it your way. Did you see how I kept moving the stamp back and forth? That was so that it wouldn't have the same picture going the same direction every time. I think it turned out really good. And when I was done putting the stamp everywhere I wanted, I got out Debbie's wax in the color white and I brushed it over the entire quilt rack, excluding the raw portion of the dowel where the quilt will hang. After letting it sit for just a few minutes, I wiped it off with a soft, dry towel. If you ever wondered where I get it from, here's my mom. She is so amazing. I said on Mother's Day that she didn't choose me, but after she got me, she just plowed straight ahead and raised me right. And you know what? Now she chooses me every single day, and I would choose my mom a million times over, and then I'd do it again and again and again for all of eternity. Here's how her quilt rack looks. And I had to save that one little picture on the right so you could see how I used to look. Project number 3. Warning, if you are allergic to or have any adverse reactions to the painting of antiques you believe unwarranted of said painting, you are strongly advised to stop viewing now. Failure to do so may result in heart palpitations, excessive sweat, and minor discomfort of your brachial cavity. Consider yourself warned. Well, now that we have legal taken care of, I can take care of this old casserole dish stand. I actually have some silver cleaner in the house, but I didn't want to use it because I wanted to maintain the integrity of some of the old distressed look this already has. So all I'm doing is cleaning it with lemon juice and a little bit of stainless steel sink cleaner. Apothecary, apothecary, apothecary. Is she ever going to use anything other than apothecary? Well, yeah, but not that much. You know why? Because apothecary is beautiful. I'm just doing the little part that has a grid. I'm leaving everything else old. So if you are having some heart palpitations, you can now let go. To seal the paint, I used Debbie's DIY white wax, and I only used it on the part where I painted. Then I made a simple bow out of some burlap ribbon I had, and I was done. You know what we're using it for? I wish I could give credit to the person who thought of this originally, but I found it on Pinterest and I don't know who that would be. So thank you, person who thought of using this as a book stand. Project number 4. This project is kind of an afterthought. You might think of it as a bonus project. So naturally, I got out a few of my favorite things, that being Debbie's DIY paint in the color Apothecary and Debbie's white wax, and I'm also using one IOD transfer from their book called Traditional Pots. I kept seeing this lamp in my after pictures where I take the pictures by my front door, and it has that red on it. It's just not a pretty lamp, but I need it because light, so I decided to zhuzh it. Because I did this at varying times between other projects, I did not film all of the process, but it was super easy. All I did was paint white wax over all of the black metal parts, and then I wiped it off with a soft towel. I painted the red globe with Apothecary and let it dry thoroughly. I added a second coat. After it was dry, I added a transfer. I brushed white wax over the entire globe area, including the transfer, and then I wiped it off with the towel, and voila, I was done. I sure do appreciate all of my viewers. I hope that you are having a wonderful time watching my videos, and if you are, you might consider subscribing to my channel. I'm trying to catch up on getting back to all of your comments. I have read them all and they're wonderful. They really warm my heart. So thank you for that, and I'll get to you soon, I promise. I hope that this video encourages you to go out and make stuff even when you feel like you can't for whatever reason, because you can, and you can make something wonderful. Until you see me again next time, I hope you have a wonderful week. And as always, I hope you are blessed. Bye. Hey y'all, I am sitting on my front porch. You know why? Because I can. If you don't know why I couldn't sit on my front porch for a while, you might want to go check out my video called Front Porch Reclamation. And then you'll understand why it's kind of a big deal.